What led to the downfall of the girl group?
I had a lot of things that I wasn't handling well in my life. We were drag queens. We were like, what wig do you want to wear? What outfit you wearing? Blah, 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 blah. We didn't get stuff on paper like we should have. Bands, there's not always an equal split.
Mm-hmm.
Vicky wasn't being paid the same as me. Dee wasn't being paid the same as me. I was writing everything. I thought I earned it. People felt differently about that. All three of us felt differently, obviously. And then when tax time came, I had been paying out everybody, cash, checks, whatever, through when our music would sell. We split it 3 ways because I was like, we're sisters. It's what we're doing. Taxes are 36 to 42% of your income, right? So my 33.3% share didn't even cover the taxes on the money that we made from all of our music. Wow. I got out of DWV in a tax hole. And it's not like I could ask them to pay me back. I'm the one that paid them. Mm-hmm. It was my own stupid fault. I was the Matthew Knowles of the group. I was the one organizing stuff. I was the one writing a lot of stuff. I was the one with the car. I was the older sister doing it. And I took all that on myself. They didn't ask me for it. And they would always say, you're trying to do too much. And I was. And I still am. I love them. They're my family. They're my sisters. There's always a period where you don't talk to your family, Mm-hmm. So we had that, and it was hard. That's what led to the downfall, basically. It was all of us feeling some kind of way, and that didn't conducively make a good group anymore.
Yeah.
On stage, you wouldn't be able to tell, though, because we had something like 58 gigs after I decided to stop saying no to the gigs with DWV, and my manager told me, you're not going to work. Nobody wants you. And I was like, oh, wow. Well, we'll see. And I remember one of the gigs was a cruise ship where Vicky and I were being paid, but Detox wasn't. So that tells you a little bit about the manager I was dealing with. And he was on the boat with us, and Detox laid into him. And I remember it was the cruise ship thing where you had to get customers to come and sign up under your name. Then you got paid if you had more than 50 people. I'm like, I'm not playing that little matchstick girl on a canoe game trying to get people to sign up for me. I was like, you're going to give me $3,000 if you want me on your boat to do all your little events and all your things. So they gave me $3,000. And then I was like, well, Vicky's not doing it for free either. So Vicky got $1,000 negotiated through that manager. We're backstage, literally talking, Detox, Vicky, and I, before we go on. And Detox realizes she's not being paid, and we are. Because something came up. She was livid. And, where do you put that anger? Yeah. It's like one of those things where there were a lot of things going on. I am not free from blame, obviously. They are not free from blame. But we're better and older, and Vicky's still the most talented one in the group. She is.
Do you still talk to them?
I saw Vicky in Little Shop of Horrors this summer as the plant. She was the best thing in the world. Yeah, we talk, but literally I have 28 cities in 41 days in the next couple months, in the next 2 months before March 27th. And then now it's February something. So there's not much time to talk. Mm-hmm. But when you see each other, it's just you're
but it's it's like a family vibe, I don't always talk to my mom or always talk to my dad, but it's when you have that chance, you do.
Exactly.
You get into your spics.
And that was DWV.
So this ends, you, AAA, so American Apparel. Do they come to you? Do you go to them? How does the group end up starting? Was it just an ad campaign at first?
AAA, the American Apparel ad girls, started because American Apparel wanted to work with DWV. And we went in and took a bunch of free stuff from them, and we're working with them. And then Vicky was rightly moted because they didn't have anything in her size other than the scarves. So, and then some loose, baggy harem pants stuff. And she's like, I can't wear, I don't like that. I was like, yeah, I got it, girl. So then when I was in my next girl group, I remember my little contact, and they wanted to do a t-shirt campaign. And me and Courtney had done a show with the guy who was in charge of the AA stuff at American Apparel. And they're like, okay, we're going to be doing this. And they're like, we want to bring on one more girl. We were thinking of Alaska. And me and Courtney were on the FaceTime call with them. And we look at each other. And I was like, and she's like, you. And I was like, no. We're like, it's easier with two. We already figured out what poses we want to do. All that. And he's like, okay. And then the next day he's like, don't hate me. I added Alaska. And we're like, oh, that's fine. We like Alaska. It's cool. And Alaska knows all this now. So we did the little photo shoot. And then my best friend and right hand, Anthony, DJ Pasta Body, put on this song by, I forget who it was, something Gorgon. I forget, but it was American Apparel had girls. Andre 3000 was featured on it. And I was like, we should parody this song. And they're like, okay, let's try it. And we did it. And then I produced the video, and the video looked slick as fuck. And then we did a Christmas song. We were really hesitant to like calling it a thing or a group. Yeah, we did a 15-city tour. And hopefully people will see what is the fruit of that this year. Because it's a TV show we're trying to sell.
Oh, that's awesome. So still together?
I mean, we're all apart, but we all have gigs.
Yeah. So it's just a little
We did an album. That album took like a year to get together because we're never in the same spot. Courtney's favorite hobby is doing reality shows on other continents. Now she's doing Dancing with the Stars Australia. I was like, Australia didn't want you. That's why you went to America. And we didn't want you, so that's why you went to England. Now you're going back to Australia? She took a long way around to get famous in a country that's about as big as Minnesota.
So you end up writing a book.
I did.
And it's called Suck Less.
Suck Less, where there's a Willam, there's a way.
How was that? How did you, like, I think that a really cool thing about you, I think that why you are so successful as a drag queen is that you use all of your creative outlets in whatever way possible. You record your own music, you write your own shit, you can do comedy, and then you now have a book. It's like, how did that come to be? How does that make you feel to see when people buy your book, read your book? Like,
I found out how many I've sold this week. The first printing was 15,000. Then they rushed 10 more once they saw the pre-sale. Then after that, there were 5 more around Christmas that year, 2 months after it came out, 5,000 more. So that totals it up to like 30,000. I've sold 41,000 copies of that book.
It's pretty fucking bomb.
Yeah, it's nice to, to have every little kind of media. You're like, songs, books, whatever.
Exactly.
I have like a Library of Congress number. Like,
that's
not many
so
people
cool.
can say that. Yeah.
No.
The book came about because I would just answer Tumblr questions and people were asking advice, and then an editor found me and she liked it, brought me into one agency, one publishing house where she worked. They said no. She went to another publishing house, brought me in there. I sold it in the room. And then I wrote it all as like voice notes in my phone, basically, and cocktail napkins in airport lounges. And then I holed up at my now manager's house in Fire Island and wrote for like a week. And then I took a bunch of pictures. Matthew Anderson did the cover. And then it became a book. And then, yeah.
So awesome.
I love my book. It's like my little baby.
And then your book ended up becoming a show.
My book ended up becoming a show, you're right, yeah.
And how that must have been pretty insane too.
That was cool until I said something transphobic, apparently.
But you recovered from that. I think that's something, in my opinion, you took what you didn't know and you learned from it and then you spoke about it.
Yeah, the issue was I was on the phone with a caller and they repeatedly misgendered the person that they were dating. And that person had concealed certain aspects of their birth gender markings, maybe. I don't know if that's the right word. And the person on the phone was feeling irked about it. And I wasn't sure exactly what was going on, but in my head, my grandma didn't have boobs because she had cancer twice. And I remember asking about it because we were in Florida in swimsuit season all the time. Mm-hmm. And my mom said, boobs don't make the woman, You could be a woman without boobs. And in my head, I said something about, like, just because you cut your tits off doesn't make you a man or something. Because I'd also I don't know her, but I worked with her in a club twice. This lesbian who got, she had the BRCA gene thing. That might not be the right words, but BC, it's a gene that makes you, it's indicative of being highly prone to breast cancer. Angelina Jolie had it. A lot of people have it. She had a double mastectomy, and she wasn't rebuilding because she's like, it's better now. She was a heavyset girl. Her tits were huge. Gave her back problems. So in my head, like, I was thinking of those things, and I was like, was this person a lesbian? What's their deal? I don't know. this person on the phone, like, how can you be dating someone for a month and not know? And then I brought up Brandon Tino, which was a very bad idea because he's like a trans, like, martyr and saint, you know, for sure. And just because he did some stuff that is on his arrest record and is, you know, you know, dings on his permanent record, not that he has one anymore, that doesn't mean, like, it's okay or in good taste to talk ill about the dead, I guess. And so I took my punches and I tried to learn from it, and I know more now than I did when I said those comments. So I think it, all in all, good thing, you know?
Yeah, I think it's smart. I think you took it as a learning opportunity, and you did the best of it.
So the manager that I was with when that happened, he's like, you have to make an apology video, XYZ. I was doing it anyway because we were on the tour for AAA Girls when it all came out. But that same manager told another girl who'd said a bunch of inflammatory stuff. A promoter was saying, hey, we're getting protests from XYZ about the things that this person has said and done. That manager then told her, oh, it'll blow over, don't worry. And now that drag queen can't work, basically, in a couple major markets on the West Coast because she gets protests every time. So promoters can't book her. So I feel like addressing something when you've done something wrong and owning up to it is the first step.
Correct.
You know, just pushing it under the rug, that's fine, it'll cover it. But when you step on the rug, it's going to get out.
Yeah.
You know, it's always going to be under that rug, girl. So it's just better to clear it up then.
Or you end up in a Kevin Hart situation.
Short?
Yeah, short, just like that.
Yeah.
So something phenomenal that's happened this year with you has been your role in A Star Is Born. So walk me through that process. What was that like? Did you audition for that? I know that you put up a picture of you in like in a Babs nose at one point. Like, what was that like, and when did that even start?
I'd say January 2000. What year is it? 2017. I knew about there being drag queens in a movie or something with, you know, Star Is Born happening. And then cut to me going in for the movie as like a dead Marilyn Monroe. It was literally jump off a plane on Friday, get in drag immediately. I did like a dead Marilyn Monroe look, which was pretty good. And then before I got back to the car, they called me, my manager, and said, I've said my manager so many times, I sound like such a douchebag, called me and said that they liked me. And then that Monday, the next Monday, the role was re-released with different physical parameters, which, you know, when they say open to all ethnicities now, like, it's not Marilyn Monroe, not just white bitches. So I knew I wasn't going to get it at that point. I was like, oh, well, I tried my best, did my hardest, did good in the room. That was my job, you know? I get another call, hey, they want to see you for Barbara. And I'm like, I'm not Barbara, but I'll go in, I'll do my best, fake nose, all that. I knew they weren't going to cast some drag queen with a fake nose in a movie remake of a Barbara movie because it would be disrespectful, I thought. So I was like, let me go in, do my best job, and, you know, whatever, maybe they'll remember me for something else. Week later, they call and they say, we have a role for you. I was like, great, can I see a script? Absolutely not. The name is Emerald. I'm like, cool, all right. I get the script, and then it's a scene or two, and then I go to my friend's wedding in England, Tom Daly and Lance Black, and we're at the rehearsal dinner on a Friday night at this big castle, and I see my friend Bruce, who's a producer, and he's like, what are you doing? What's up? And I tell him, I'm like, I just got in a movie with Gaga and Bradley Cooper, and he says, oh, I did Silver Linings for Bradley, tell him I said hi. I was like, okay, cool. Next morning I wake up to a text that says, terrible, terrible news, the scenes have all been cut. And I was like, what did I do so wrong in my life that God gave me a movie with Lady Gaga and then took it away? I was like, this is DWV. I know it is. I need to make amends for everything I did. I didn't even know what I did, mostly. But I was like, what am I doing wrong in my life? I considered moving at that point and leaving LA. And the first person I see when I walk down the stairs to the wedding was Bruce Cohen. And I was like, tell your friend to put me back in his movie. He probably didn't. But a week or two later, they checked my avail again. And they're like, we want to see. And I was like, sure, I'm around. But, like, you know, they already cut me once. So I went and I filmed stuff. And then I didn't tell many people because so many things can end up on the
Yeah.
cutting room floor. And I was just like, if I'm in it, I'm in it, great. It was a great experience. After the first day, they added another scene for me, which was the one with the guitar. So I was happy for the experience, walking away from it. And then for it to come out and to be actually what it was, you can't expect that. And there's no way to thank enough people for that opportunity.
How many times have you seen it?
It's in the double digits.
Yeah.
I saw it in theaters at least 9 times. I saw it in Manchester with a bunch of people I was on tour with. I saw it in LA 1, 2, 3 times. I saw it in Toronto. I saw it in I saw it a lot. But I loved it. It's such a great movie.
Yeah,
And the
it's
music.
such a great movie.
Bitch, hair, body, face.
That's the best song.
Oh.
Are you gonna lip sync to that sometime? I think you should.
I don't know. I'm not a very good lip syncer.
Oh no, you just sing live.
Yeah.
That's one thing that you do.
I'm a live mover.
A live mover.
Live mover and vocalist.
What's been the biggest feedback or the biggest thing that has come from seeing yourself on the screen and the reaction? What's been the biggest reaction that you've had? Like, are you getting everything that you wanted, or is it unexpected? Like, what do you...
I'm not getting everything I wanted. I should have hired a publicist and taken advantage of it. I was stupid and poor. So I didn't. I should have. I'm trying to get an agent still. I don't have one. But for the rest of my life, when people say, oh, you're an actor, what have you been in? It would have been nice to be able to say Broadway at some point. But now I have like a credit where it's like, A Star is Born. Oh, yeah, I saw that. Who were you? Even straight people. Their wife dragged them or something. Or, everybody, a lot of people will have seen this movie by the time I die. I'm the one that gets her tits signed. Oh, yeah, you were funny. Like, just that.
That's...
So.
I mean, that must feel great. That must feel like... like, to see yourself on a fucking humongous-ass screen and then have, like, multiple people laughing at you.
Yeah, and, it's a great feeling, but now it's finally... I have the feeling to myself, like, what's next? Because I feel like I made it, and I'm happy. For the first time ever, I'm happy, and I'm not feeling some sort of way like, oh, I should have been blah, blah, blah. Not like, and I should have been on All Stars, or I wish I had this opportunity, or I should have played the game right so I could have gotten some, better play off of World of Wonder and Drag Race, and all those little questions that make me go, what should I have done, or XYZ about that, are now null and void because of A Star is Born, because it just, it closes up the struggle years, because now I have that credit, and I'm really funny in a great fucking movie. Yeah. And I'm good now. So everything after this is gravy. If I never work again, I never work again, but I'm happy, and now I feel okay to, relax a little bit. Does that make sense? But not relax really, because literally I'm still churning out content and work and new projects and all that. But now I kind of feel like whatever comes after this comes.
What do you anticipate, or what would you like, if anything else were to happen? What would you like to be next for you?
I want to do another book. I want to be the new Jeff Lewis.
Okay.
My career models are Chris Hardwick.
Okay.
And Martha Stewart.
Okay.
Imagine mashing them up.
Okay.
Like, I would love an LGBT nerdist of some sort. I want to do a home line. I want to take over Flipping Out on Bravo. I'm currently redoing a house now that I'm going to be on HGTV House Hunters for. So I'm the first drag queen on that. I want my own home show. I want my own home empire. I want to renovate, knock down walls. I like building. Yeah. It's the same thing going back to as a kid, drawing and buildings and dresses, and I want to create stuff. I like creating my own stuff. I don't like answering to people. I don't like people giving me deadlines. I want to be, fully realized, my own person and my own company, and take the people that I've worked with and loved with me on the way up.
So, bringing all this full circle, what would you say is the one piece of advice that you've been given that has kept you sane, stable, and going with your career and making the best of what you can with what you have?
Get the money first.
Yeah?
Honestly, because if someone offers you a job and, oh, it's for exposure, XYZ, don't do it if you don't want to do it. You have to want it. My rules for getting in drag used to be money, press, charity, or dick. But dick was usually I could get if I was in drag for one of these things. I never really got in drag just for dick. Seems like a lot of work. But if you do a job and you don't want to be there and you feel some sort of way, it'll show. So I always say get money. But also, those people that are like, never give up, XYZ. Some people should. Because not everybody's going to make it.
No.
It's really hard out there. It's really hard. And if you're not like ready for a lot of fucking no, like buckets of no a day, don't do it. You got to have a fucking iron gut to do this shit. It's a lot of no's. It's a lot of no. They're not right. Well, why? They're just not right. They're a little light for this. No, they're overexposed. You know what my favorite thing was? There was a breakdown that said a Willam Belli type in it. And then I was like, oh my God. And then I couldn't get in for it. They're like, no, the director thinks you're overexposed. You know what the funny thing was? They didn't even know my name. My agent called into the office that released that breakdown and said, I have a drag client. And then they're like, tell us it's not William. It's like, I'm overexposed, yet you don't even know my name? Yeah. I'd say give up. It's easier.
So, last but not least, what can the public expect from you next? Do you have anything in the works that you want to say, you want to tease, you want to do?
Well, Star is Born is available digitally and on DVD and Blu-ray if they still make them. Catch me on HGTV for House Hunters. Race Chaser, which is my new podcast with Alaska, where we go over every episode of RuPaul's Drag Race one by one. Since reality shows don't like to pay for repeat airings, we're going to figure out a way to make money off of you one way or another. So we did that. And
you also bring other guests on, like, to actually talk about their episodes too, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool. It's nice to give people a platform that otherwise they wouldn't really have, you know, like doing an interview with like Hornet or whatever. That's great. But like talking to two of your sisters from the show who've been through it, who've been through the other side. For some people, that show is heaven. For other people, it was their nom, you know? So it's nice to have that perspective of Alaska and I, the voice of reason and the voice of treason. And then my YouTube channel, which has 2 new videos a week, which are fairly entertaining, I guess.
They are. They're great.
Ish.
I love them.
Yeah, thanks. And then I don't know what else. Turn on TNT and watch Criminal Minds. I'll pop up on that. Literally, I opened up 4 residual checks the other day. One was Criminal Minds. One was CSI. The other was CSI Las Vegas. No, CSI New York. And then the third one was like The Shield. And I'm like, fuck. I've been on a lot of cop shows.
You've been on a lot of cop shows.
Yeah.
Just hooking on the streets.
But that also says something, like a lot of shows are actual, it just goes to show how many shows are medical or law enforcement or like based, you know?
Yeah.
So many. The Law and Order Empire, all the cop shows. I mean, ER and Chicago Hope came out the same year, you know? I don't know. Never mind.
People always love a little bit of trouble. I think that's what it is. People love like, that's bad.
Yeah, that's bad. Ooh, fire.
Ooh, fire.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much in your own abode. Thank you for all of this. But like Willam said, check Willam out, The Beatdown, the Race Chaser podcast, all of that great stuff. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Joseph Shepard.
I'm Willam.
Bye!
Bye. Subscribe if you're here or there or wherever you are. What was that? Never mind.
Is that a nail?
I don't know.